All right, we should be live here. What's up, everyone? I'm just going to do a little test on my side to see if we are in fact live. Still loading. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm just going to do a little Collecticon recap video today. Collecticon Chicago was last weekend, October 12th and 13th. So just going to do I vended at that show. So I'm just going to do a little recap video of that there tonight, just to tell you about my experience. Got a nice little PowerPoint made up to go over it, so that is what we are going to do tonight. So I'm not seeing myself live on my YouTube app on my phone yet, so I'm going to reopen that and just triple check to make sure that I am live before I start talking into nothingness. All right, perfect. All right, confirmed. Sounds good. What's up, everyone? It is Thursday, October 17th. A few days have passed since Chicago Collecticon in Chicago. Obviously, it's actually in Rosemont, Illinois. For those who came and actually know, it's not downtown Chicago. It is close to O'Hare Airport, which is much closer to suburbs than it is to the city center. So Rosemont is kind of just like a industrial park type area. It is not what you think of when you think of skyscrapers and the Chicago River and beautiful everything. It is very much a convention center, that type of area. But nonetheless, it is a monster. This Donald E. Stevenson Convention Center is a absolute behemoth. That is where they have the the National Sports Cards Collectors Convention. Most years, I think in the past, it's been every other year. It's been in Chicago, then it rotates between Chicago and Cleveland, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think they actually recently changed the rule to where people can vote, and it can be Chicago multiple years if they want, and I think that is going to be the case soon. In any event, it is an absolutely massive venue. We were in Hall F, so that gives you an idea. There's Hall A, B, C, D, E, F. I think it goes to H or J or something like that. And Hall F is a monster in and of itself. So absolute behemoth. We are just going to go through it. I'm going to pull up the slideshow in here in a second. I'm just going to take a look at the chat. I see iFOMO. iFOMO always makes it into the chat. I appreciate the support. Basic Trainer, see it in here as well. I did not see you at Collecticon, so I'm a little disappointed in that. I know that you're from this neck of the woods up in, I believe, Milwaukee originally, so couldn't make the trek up and do the 90-minute drive to see some family in Milwaukee. We're disappointed we couldn't see a basic. Hope to see it at a Collecticon coming soon. Did see a lot of the people in the hobby, so was able to at least spend a little bit of time, and I'll get into that full experience here in just a second. So I'm going to toggle over here to the browser, got the PowerPoint going. Recap that in those black labels, I did not sell a single black label. I don't own a single black label. That just happened to be in the screenshot that I took when I created this thumbnail. So let's dive in. So my pre-con experience, so pre-Collecticon. So as you can see by this weird dude with eight arms, looking super busy, on the phone, coffee, work, crazy, hectic, busy. That was my life leading up to Collecticon, unfortunately. So I know a lot of people were able to come into town Tuesday, Wednesday, or maybe not even Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There were a lot of people hanging out. People came in early. People were checking into the hotels early. Messages were flying in the Discord. People were having dinners and going on boat tours and I was super jealous of that because I unfortunately could not partake in any of those pre-con events. So it was unfortunate. Such is life, though. I have a almost 9-month-old baby, and additionally our main childcare, which is our main childcare is out of town for 3 weeks. So that coincided, unfortunately, with the prep for a Collecticon. So I typically have a good amount of responsibility in watching my son throughout the week, but that was amplified by quite a bit with our regular childcare out of town. So that I worked, Monday through Friday, obviously, but Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, I was. As soon as I walked in the door from work, I had to take over for watching the baby from the babysitter. So until he went to bed, and then after that, I was just exhausted and needed to do prep for the con in terms of pricing and everything. So with all that being said, I just wasn't unable to make it out to any of the plans. So that was really a bummer, and that is kind of a theme for my experience, and I'll get into it a little bit more. That was a theme for my experience of Chicago Collecticon. Don't get me wrong, had a good time, was able to talk to people throughout, while vending in some breaks in between, and we did have one dinner, but I always knew the point that I wanted, or that I enjoyed the most about these conventions and just about the hobby in general, is just hanging out with the people, hanging out with friends in the hobby. That was really amplified and reinforced with my experience here. I only got to do one dinner, which was Saturday night, and just getting into that was after vending all day, the way that the plans worked, we Walrus set up and Chef set up a Capital Grill. Unfortunately, the only time that was available for that Saturday night was very, very late. I was absolutely starving after not having eaten since 8 a.m. that day, vending all day, that I was like, I cannot wait until 9 p.m. to eat. So I wanted to go to an earlier dinner. I heard some rumblings. Multiple people came up to my booth, said, "Hey, I think Mason stopped by and said, hey, people are doing Mexican. If you don't want to wait that long." Birch next to me was like, people are having Mexican, and I was like, what's the name of the restaurant? And they're like, I don't remember, but we'll see you there. So that didn't, I felt like the con ended on Saturday, and I'll go back and talk about sales and experience and blah blah blah. I'm just talking about like the being able to spend time with people right now. So I stopped vending at 6, cleaned up, or 5 or 6 or whatever it was on Saturday, and I was like, I don't know where the restaurant is, and I just was messaging people on Discord, and people weren't getting back to me, and it was like I was just sitting in the parking garage, and I was just like, felt super out of the loop. I was like, I don't know where it's happening. Finally, Hoot TCG Benji responded to a message and told me where the restaurant was, and I went over there. It was super. The parking garage and the area around this particular restaurant was just an absolute shit show. There were cars everywhere. It was like super stressful, and just like it was just backed up, crazy busy. This weird parking garage city. If you've ever been to Rosemont, where all this is, you'll know it's just like this weird concrete jungle of really. It's just very confusing parking garage and very busy and whatever. So it was just stressful to get there. By the time I got to the restaurant, like people had already ordered. Sat down with Birch and his wife, who I loved spending time with this whole time. We got there at a similar time, so I was able to spend some time and talk with them and kind of order at the same pace. But there were two tables completely filled with people. I think too many people were kind of scheduled to come to the restaurant. I know that Nostalgianomics Alex and his wife and a little bit of another crew came in the door. Fat Belly Collects had to sit at the bar. There was just not a lot of space at this restaurant, and the plans kind of just didn't go super smooth, and it just was like stressful, and the whole experience to get there, it just wasn't. It wasn't like a super chill hangout. Can't wait to hang out with the boys. We're going to commiserate afterwards. It was just like the lead up. Don't know where it is. Messaging and getting there. Stress. Can't find it. Go up. It was just, it wasn't the most chill, fun experience to be totally honest. Just kind of getting there. Once I did get there, said hi to some people, walked around the table, said what's up to people that were there. Vandy and Pokey Smoke and Grimer was there, and like the big crew. But we were kind of at a separate table, me, Birch, and Birch's wife. So we had a really good time talking to them. Had some good Mexican food. I was starving. So all in all, I don't want to like sound like I'm just complaining like this was shitty plans and like didn't like it or what. Like I don't want it to come off like that. I'm just trying to highlight it's my own fault, I think, for not being kind of engaged and like locked into the lead up of this, and just kind of solidifying plans, and just being more prepared for that portion. I just did not have a second to organize, to hit the Discord, to see what was going on. I think I set myself up for failure with just kind of the social plans of this, and I had really one shot to kind of have this this hangout session, this dinner, and it just didn't go well leading up to it. So once we got there, it is what it is. Such as life, bad parking situations, miscommunications on plans. Like it felt like there was a lot more pressure on it, since it was the only social engagement that I had, outside of the actual convention and walking around a little bit, like when I, packed up my table. So it was unfortunate that I really wish I would have taken a day off work, taken Friday off, been able to head out to the Airbnb to pick up my pass from Grimer and hang out with the boys on Friday night at the Airbnb. I wish I would have been able to do that and priced earlier, and it's my own fault for having a lot of commitments and not pre-planning and taking some time off work. So that's a regret that I have, and something that I will take into consideration in the future for these Collecticons. I'm definitely going to make sure to set aside some time, not just for last second I've got all my stuff prepped and ready to go. I'm gonna make a concerted effort to plan. Maybe take a Friday off of work. Maybe even take a Thursday off of work to get there early, hang out, kind of scope out the area. Maybe do some whatever the case may be. If it's in Chicago, my hometown, or elsewhere, I think I need to make a more concerted effort to do the social aspects, because what I'm realizing, and I mentioned this when I started the rant, is that that is the most important part of the whole thing for me. And when that was taken away, it kind of felt like a job, to be honest. So don't want to start it off on a negative foot, but I'm just giving my honest kind of recap of what happened and how I felt. So going on to the next slide, I've got a couple pictures of my booth here. So we're gonna talk about setup in the actual booth here. So on the left, we've got the booth on the first day, which is Saturday, and on the right, the booth on the second day, which is obviously Sunday. So the big difference here is that on a Saturday, I had these Pokemon Center ETB Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, Paltea and Fates, a couple Temporal Forces. I had some Fusion Strike packs there that actually sold pretty quickly at $4 a pop. I had that Pikachu VMAX Crown Zenith Special Collection box and a Paltea and Fates ETB, whatever. I sold one ETB in the Fusion Strike packs and maybe one Japanese booster box. So nobody cared about those ETBs. That just wasn't, I felt like it was just taking up space on my booth. And so I decided to come back day two and just make a mountain of a big, nice, clean looking display of 151 and a couple Japanese booster boxes that did end up selling. I think I sold like 3 V-Star Universes and 3 or 4 Shiny Treasure EX boxes. So those still had a little bit of a space there. So I wanted to make that nice presentation of the UPCs and the booster bundles, because that was by far the hottest item. 151 is just absolutely on fire. I sold a ton of booster bundles, and I had a lot of interest in the UPCs. I sold about 7 UPCs. I had them priced very well, probably the best price in the entire convention. If I had to venture to say $155. At the moment on TCG Player, they're like 195 low list, but at the time of the convention, I think it was 185 low list TCG Player, including shipping. I did the calculations on that. If you take out the selling fees and shipping in the kind of the inconvenience to I guess we'll take inconvenience out of it. Just the raw numbers. That's how much I would have kind of netted. I think I would have netted like $152 without factoring in the inconvenience of shipping on TCG Player. So I thought it was appropriate to go down to 155. I started at 175, no bites at all, no interest. Went down to 170, 165, 16. I was just kind of updating the price every hour or so on Saturday, just really not getting any interest until I got to the 160 range, and then finally started to convert some sales at 155. That also might have been something that Mason walked up to my booth and pointed out. He was like, hey, like people just might not want to carry this around on Saturday. And that could have been true. I don't know what the factor was with people. Maybe I just lowered the price for no reason, and the only reason that people weren't buying it is because they didn't want to carry it around all day. That could have been the case, but in any event, I think I had I brought like 22 of these things. Bought them for I think like $79 on Walmart, $80, whatever, when they had that sale when they first came out. So, and I sold 7 of them at that price. So anyways, that's the booth setup in terms of the sealed product. I had that binder there that you see. I had some stuff that I like in it. Most of it was mid-era reverse hollows from about 2002, 2003 up to 2009-ish, 2010. There's some other modern, just random things, but I would say 85% of it is what I just described of the reverse hollows. I like to kind of buy those types of collections because I think they're cool, and I think not a lot of people buy them, and they're just hard to find. So when I find like a decent lot, I enjoy them, and they sold pretty well. I think the binder is sitting maybe in a different room. I can't show you, but there's I sold pretty well in there. I priced it fairly, maybe $1 off of low list, $1 or $2 depending on the item. So the 5-6 dollar singles in that binder sold well. I was pleased with kind of the people buying those and flipping through them, and I was pleased with the kind of the conversion, people walking up to the table and actually buying out of the binder, so that was nice. I also have that one row of just singles and penny sleeves of $1 a piece. Last year I did some kind of gimmick and had them all in the binder. I was like, 4 for $8 or whatever, just some BS with different deals, and if you buy this many you get that. I just decided to screw that and just put them in like a little thing that people like to pick through and just throw $1 on there, and it is what it is. People are going to ask for a discount if they want regardless, so I didn't want to deal with that gimmick and have it in the binder. I think that people just kind of like to pick through, and I found that a lot of people were just kind of grabbing a handful, looking through, and it was kind of, kids or people are like, oh, this is cute. Like, I don't even know what this Pokemon is, but that's cute. This is cool. That's a cool looking one. One guy came through and he's just like, I like the derpy, like weird, goofy looking ones, and I'm just picking out goofies, and people would come and pick out cute ones. So that I found that, most people, and it's said all the time, but I just reinforce it here, most people are not super deep in the weeds and checking the prices and checking the charts and stonking and going for the next set. They're just like, that is super cute and I want that, to buy that, and I've got money that to spend, and I'm going to spend it. So a lot of people were just kind of there to see what's going on and just take it all in and maybe buy a couple cute cards. So you'll see at the bottom row of the case, if we move over to the case, I have kind of like sealed promos at the bottom. So you'll see Unaga but Pikachu at like 5, 6, 7 of those at 25 a pop. They're going for 30 on eBay, 25 there. I had Celebrations Charizard that I don't think I sold. I might have. I can't remember off the top of my head. Just priced at 75. I think that actually will get a 10. So I was just like, whatever. I'm just being too lazy. I don't really have a full submission going right now. I haven't had the time to get that together. And then I have Van Gogh Pikachus in there. I sold one for 115 that was super off-centered to a really nice guy who just like thought it was cool, and this is his first Collecticon, and he just was like, I like this and I want to buy it, and he didn't care about the centering at all, and he just bought it. So then I have 2 copies that were well centered, and I priced those at 130, and those did not sell. Still have them, going to send them in myself. Got some single 151 packs for $7 that I sold decently well throughout the convention, and then the rest of it is essentially just junk slabs, just absolute absolute junk. A lot of it's like 9 and 8 Japanese base misses, grading misses, and just like they didn't do well, as you might expect. I sold Old School Pokemon came out and hosed me. I mispriced a slab for $15 that was supposed to be $35, and he picked it out, and I was nice enough guy to give it to him for the sticker price. He wasn't gonna. I don't think gonna screw me over, but that was just something funny that happened. He bought a few Unagabas from me, but he had a laser eye and caught out the one price mispriced thing there, so I thought that was funny. So gave him that one, and then sold the rest of the stuff to him for full price because I gave him a nice deal on that one slab. What else do we have there? I had a legendary collection reverse holo Vaporeon. If you see that right next to the Unagaba, you will not see it the second day because I sold it, or maybe it sold it throughout the second day. But anyways, I sold that for like, I don't know, $60. It was like folded in half. So those still have a ton of demand, literally just completely like crumpled and damaged. And a guy was just like, I really like this card, and I just want this to be a placeholder until I can find a better copy. They're super hard to find, and that stuff moves. Okay, so junk slabs did not do well. What else do I have to tell you about that booth? I just that pretty much covers it in terms of the stuff that I brought. Those junk slabs, I think I'm just gonna send them to DC Sports. I think they've got the lowest rate for just offloading junk slabs. I don't like, people literally didn't even ask to look at a single one of like the it was just it was pointless. So that is that. In terms of like the actual setup of this booth, I had I was by myself, which also not super recommended. A lot of people have they bring their husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, brother, whatever. So the guy standing in the black shirt next to me, I think they were part of like milk tank collectibles or something. Two nice guys, two brothers, Alex and I believe Philip. They were together. Next to me on the other side was Birch and his wife. They were obviously together. Had a super whale. You'll see her in the background, the older lady and her husband, Rainbow Jim. They were together, husband and wife combo. She's a super whale older lady that was kind of brokering some big deals throughout the con. So that was kind of cool to see. So the point is, what I'm bringing up here is that it's tough to do by yourself. So I had hold on, my phone is trying to connect to OBS for some reason. I had the proper tools. I had the collapsible kind of travel wagon, the yellow and black, nice containers there. So like I had the right equipment to be able to transport heavy stuff by myself, but it was nonetheless like super heavy and inconvenient and kind of tough to the people around me, you'll see Grammer back there in the front. Like I was surrounded by like friends and good people, but like I didn't feel like I wanted to leave my booth for too long. So I would ask them for a bathroom break, and then I'd like come right back. Cause they have to sell too. So it's tough to watch somebody else's booth, and it's kind of an inconvenience. And two, I wanted to get back to my own booth and sell my stuff myself and make sure I was there to hear to wheel and deal and do that. So, if I would have had more of like a partner, my wife or a trusted person that I could, go, hey, I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to go grab a bite to eat. I'm going to, walk around for a little bit, see what's out there. That's something that I'm going to look to do in the future, just being by yourself. Although, everybody's nice enough to give bathroom breaks and so on and so forth. It's not the same as having like a partner that you can just have post up there for 45 minutes if you want to just walk around and they can kind of handle the sales. Felt, that was a little tough, and it led more into what I mentioned earlier of it kind of feeling like a job. Anyway, so there's the setup, there's the booth. Move over to the next slide, which is the location. So that little red circle there is where we were located. That is booth number 20. As you can see there, it's close to the entrance. The entrance is on the bottom left of the image. The stage is very close to our booth. So there's pros and cons to that. So the pro is that we're close to the entrance. and we're close to the flow of traffic coming in. I thought we were in a good location towards the front. I walked around after I closed up my booth at around 3 early on Sunday, and I do think that we were in a solid location in terms of just like getting foot traffic, having it, near kind of a border and an entrance, and kind of people were kind of funneling through that booth stage area when there weren't performers. So it was a good area. But the bad news is that when the Ying Yang Twins and freaking Jason Page were performing, it was like deafening. So that was because we were close to the stage. So pros and cons to the location. Sales. We're gonna move on. I've got 2 more slides here. So let's see here. So sales exceeded expectations. So I set out a goal. A goal. I wanted to net profit after all selling fees and parking and booth fees and case, the cost of the case and food and everything that went into the weekend. Excuse me. I wanted to profit between $3,000 and $4,000, and I was able to do that. So after everything, it was like $4,050 after I ran all the numbers, including food, parking, every single fee. So I was very pleased with that. $4,000. It was kind of an arbitrary number that I set out for myself, but I was able to hit that upper bound of that goal. A lot of you whales out there might be like that. That's chump change, but I thought that was a nice little stack of cash for somebody who does this on the side and is not full time and kind of threw this preparation together at the last second. So I was pleased with that number. So Sunday was busier than I thought it would be. So I went into Sunday with the expectation, I thought about this on Saturday night, and throughout Sunday morning, I was like, I am going to pack up shop around noon to 1. Because I just want to walk around. I want to enjoy myself and just like kind of pack it up and just be kind of a spectator, walk around and just kind of hang out and relax a little bit. So that did not happen because I ended up packing up around 3 p.m. Because sales were good. I was still selling. I think, I didn't sell as much as I did on Saturday, but I was having consistent people come up to the booth. I was making sales, and it was worth my time to stay there. So that was a good thing. And then families, kids, people looking to open 151. That was kind of the bulk of it. I enjoyed talking to the families, talking to the kids. What's your favorite Pokemon? Like a bunch of cute little kids coming up. So that was fun. I also enjoyed talking kind of the nerdier side of the hobby, or kind of getting into the weeds. There was a little either husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, a couple that through conversation, I found out that they were Komiya fans. They had a Komiya binder, and we bonded over that. They seemed newer to the hobby, like they had just jumped in the last year or so, and weren't like super into the weeds like we are, but nonetheless they had started up a Komiya binder, so they were showing me that. I was kind of talking to them about the Masaki promos. I don't think that they were fully aware of those Masaki hollows because the husband or the boyfriend collected vending series. The wife was collecting Komiya cards, and I was like, hey, got a perfect card for you. Ever heard of Masaki Machamp? It hits both of those. It's a hollow. So they kind of taught them about Masaki Machamp to hit both of those collection goals. And later on, so that was Saturday. And on Sunday, they came back to my booth, and they were both kind of smiling from ear to ear, and they said, look what we just picked up. And they opened up the binder and showed me a Masaki Machamp in there. So and they were like grinning ear to ear. So that was really satisfying, and kind of just a wholesome thing that happened, and to kind of just like teach them about something, and open their eyes to a card that they didn't know about, that I also loved, and kind of talk to them about the thing that I love to collect, and to have them kind of remember me and remember where my booth was and come back the next day. That was a very fulfilling moment for me, to be honest. weirdly getting a little emotional. Not like I'm gonna start crying or anything, but just kind of as I'm talking about that right now, it just is a very heartwarming, and that gave me a lot of joy to that whole interaction there. So that was awesome. All right, so wrapping it up here with the final couple bullet points. Experience: Jason Page and Ying Yang Twins are terrible. I felt compelled to put that in a bullet point here. Jason Page, thank you for, writing that awesome song, but the dude is just, I'm sorry, just super cringe. I think I'm 98% sure before he came out on stage, he did his own intro behind stage. So he had the microphone, he's muffled it up. He's like, "Oh, coming from they call him the voice of a generation." And he was like trying to make his voice different. Like he was like, it was super cringe. And then he came out and he was self-proclaiming himself the voice of a generation. And he was just like, he's just scummy and gross, and come to my booth and buy these fake Funko Pops that I'll sign. I'm out. I'm out on Jason Page. Sorry. And then the Ying Yang Twins, just why are they there? It was just blaring to where my head was hurting at the end of the thing, and it just like it just doesn't match. There was just a ton of little kids there, and just to have like super vulgar and like just like twerking music on with a bunch of like little kids at the I feel like we can find a better act in solution. So I get Jason Page, blah blah blah, he's the creator of the theme song, and that's fun, and the kids sing and blah blah blah, but the Ying, I just feel like we can do a better job and find a little bit better of a situation, turn the volume down. So there's my curmudgeon old guy turn down the music situation with the music. And then my kind of bullet point, which I've touched on this multiple times throughout this talk, is that because I didn't do a good job and get to socialize and make that a priority, this really felt like a job. I woke up early to prepare everything. I was up pricing everything until like 1 a.m. the night before after working all day and watching my son. And I was just absolutely exhausted the night before Friday, putting stickers on everything and pricing and prepping and lifting things and making sure I got there on time to pick up, and then, working 8 to 6 with just like a couple bathroom breaks and just standing at that booth all day. There were good things that happened. I enjoyed talking to the people like I just told that story about, but at the same time, it was just like, it felt like a job. And looking back, I don't know what the path forward for me vending at Collecticons is going to look like. I definitely do not have any plans to do it unless it's in my hometown of Chicago, to where I don't have to like take everything on an airplane, and I can only pay the booth fees and and do that and offload some sealed product. But even with that being said, like I'm trying to decide if like that juice is worth the squeeze. Like was $4,000 worth my time and kind of just let me rephrase that. $4,000 is worth net profit. Cash is worth my time, for the actual hours that I was there, whatever that equates to be in $100 hourly wage or whatever it is per hour. Let's just make that clear. It's more of like, do I want a different experience? Would I rather just sell? Would I rather just sell things on Facebook Marketplace and on eBay and just push those, and then just go as a spectator and just prioritize socialization and walk around and be able to relax and go to the bathroom whenever I want and eat, and not be starving and not be tired? Like, I just don't know if I'm going to. I don't know what the path forward is, so I don't want to make a statement and say I'm not doing it ever. I'm. It's not just a no-brainer for me moving forward. Like, what is a no-brainer is that I want to spend time with my friends and go to these shows and enjoy the hobby, and at the very least go as a spectator. I plan on going to one every single year, but what I don't know is if I am going to vend anymore. It's just it was made money, so that's great. but at what cost? In my priorities at this time, like, I'm not full time here. It did feel like a job. So, anyways, so that is kind of the recap here. I'm going to go back to full camera. I'm going to read the chat a little bit here. I see that Brandon Baker has popped in, but I'm going to scroll up. I think I missed one from Basics when I was talking about him not coming, and that I thought he was from Milwaukee. He says, I'm originally from the north side of Chicago, but yeah, I had to miss it, so that's my bad. I thought you were from Milwaukee for some reason. But looking forward to having you and seeing you at another convention in the future. Always love to see you. Brandon Baker pops in and says, going to watch the video in the morning, but wanted to stop in and say hello. Hope y'all are having a good night. Stinks I never got to at least say hello. Mertz, hope the show went well for you. Yeah, it overall a success in terms of sales and everything. But it does suck that I did not get to see. I knew you were there, and our paths didn't cross, unfortunately. Brandon Baker says 100. I don't. Little 100 emoji. I think he's talking to Brandon Baker there. And then finally, the Mexican hipster hops in and says, okay, but did we make money? Yes, we did make money. What else was I going to say? I feel like I was going to say one more thing. I did. So I did this whole sad story, like sob story. Oh, I didn't get to hang out with anybody. Like I did. And I really enjoyed talking to, had 20 minutes talking to people in the lobby. I'm not going to name everybody because I'm going to forget names, but I was able to talk to, people. Hey, you know what? I will name names because I did enjoy them. So got to talk 5-10 minutes to Rock Pokemon in the lobby while we were waiting for the vendor gates to open up early in the morning. So it was good to catch up with him. I enjoyed talking with him. Got to talk with Java a little bit in there. I walked around the convention once I closed up shop and walked around the booths and was able to stop by Mason's booth again, see him. I did before I closed up shop. I can't remember. I think it was Saturday. I saw James from Z&G Emporium and his wife and his 2 daughters walked up to my booth. Was able to talk to them for about 2 minutes, introduce myself. First time meeting them in person. Talked to Lauren and James for a second, and then it's like 2 minutes into the conversation, the Yin Yang twins just started blaring to where we couldn't hear each other anymore, and that sucked. But it sucked that the Yin Yang twins started blaring, but it was good to meet you, James and Lauren, and your cute little daughters. I walked around, was able to go to see Ponga, Greenie, Jake Smith. Got to see Jake Smith for the first time since, I believe, Denver Collecticon 2022. So good to see him. Spent some time talking with Ponga about how it was super dark that I was selling UPCs for 155. We talked for a little while. Got to talk to Pokesmoke a little bit. Got to talk to Grimer by my table since we were vending together. So. And Mason stopped by the table for a little while. Dan stopped by Catch 'em All Collectibles, and we got to talk at my table for a little bit. So it was good to see him. So I did get to socialize a little bit, but it was all in the context of just like being at my table or at their table or in the lobby waiting to come in. So that wasn't like, hanging out in kind of a chill setting and just spending more meaningful time. So I want to make it clear that I did get some. It was great to see everybody that I did see, but next time I will plan accordingly to have some more time off in the future. Let's see here. I see Mason says, "Oh man, I could have watched y'all's table for a few." For you to get around, I wouldn't. For you to get around a little bit, he says. I wouldn't want to ask you that. You've got a. By the way, Mason's booth looked freaking awesome. It had it had everything. It had anime stuff. It had plushies. It had video games. It had trading cards, and I think there was some board game stuff there. It looked like an actual game store. Very professional, clean looking. So I wouldn't want to take you away from a big weekend to actually kind of sell stuff for your actual livelihood, but I appreciate that offer. Anyways, so I think that brings me to the bottom of the chat here. I think we got 6 concurrent viewers. That's pretty awesome. I appreciate that. So I'm going to start to wrap it up here to think if I've got any last things to say to you. So in conclusion, the last thing I'll say here is I know I went at the beginning of this video, excuse me, at the beginning of the video, I was kind of like, woe is me, you know, I wish I would, you know, I felt like I looking back, you know, at the beginning of this video, I feel like I complained too much. And I don't want to make it seem like I had a bad time or regret this in any way. I just wanted to I wanted to provide like an honest recap and not just hype it up and be like, let's go, I sold so much and saw so many people. Like I just wanted to provide like my true, honest, actual thoughts about how this event went and how, you know, I'm going to, you know, correct things moving forward to make sure I, you know, optimize my time there and how I might, reconsider vending in the future. So I want to just, you know, I just wanted to mention that, like, I never want to be like a negative person, or at least I try not to be. You know, I'm trying to get better. Everybody complains. I complain sometimes, but I want to be cognizant and not bring any negativity to the hobby and make it seem like this was a bad experience. So I do want to just mention that this is just my experience. This is my, you know, my own life circumstances did not allow me to spend time and hang out, and it probably caused more stress than, you know, it had nothing to do with Collecticon, the venue, or any friends or anything like that. It was just kind of the way my life is working right now. So very blessed overall, have a beautiful son, wife, have a job, and was able to sell $4,000 in Pokemon cards. So overall, very blessed and fortunate, and was happy to see everybody. So I am going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you everybody for stopping by and tuning into the live and to the recap. I always appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video and the content, please like and subscribe. And everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you later. All right, bye.